lot of people know this, but India actually has some really nice regional airlines. One of those regional airlines is Star Air, the airline I'll be flying today. Although Star Air is not so new to the Indian skies, it is relatively young to a lot of other major players. In fact, even though I do fly a lot, I only got a chance to fly with them now. As I entered Mumbai's Terminal 1, I was surprised the counter was actually closed, even though I arrived only 2 hours before departure. Left with no other option, I killed my time sitting around in the departure halls and shooting some aesthetic views and sipping on some drinks my family gave me at home. After a while, the check-in counters opened. The check-in guy handed over the boarding pass quickly, and it was time to head to the gates. After getting the boarding pass, as all star passengers headed to security, they were not allowed to pass through. The RFID scanners detected the boarding passes as invalid. The CISF personnel asked all passengers to go back and get some stamp. After waiting for more time and being sidelined and given weird looks by the CISFs, we finally made our way to the gate. All this while, any and everyone around the passengers on this flight kept laughing, knowing that the flight was headed to Pune. The Oasis lounge at the other side of the terminal declined my card and I went back hungry. I didn't even take any food with me since I was too haughty about my cards. I finally got two samosas for an exorbitant price, which of course tasted very average. Airport food. And not just food, even the side of Mumbai's Terminal 1 is very average. It is actually used by all flights that use remote stands for boarding and are headed to smaller Indian cities. To be honest, the flight I'm flying actually seemed like a joke to a lot of people. Nobody, almost nobody, chooses to fly from Mumbai to Pune. Also, Star Air doesn't operate flights between the two cities, but they were operating only on this one day. It was just my luck that I managed to book this flight. Also, on the day of this flight, it was raining heavily. The temperatures hit rock bottom according to Mumbai standards, and there was some intense lightning and thunder. The Star aircraft was parked right across the terminal, but due to airport rules, we drove away from it and then came back. The aircraft in operation today is an Embraer ERJ 175, one of only four such aircraft in operation by airlines in India. As you enter the aircraft, you can see business class in a 2-1 configuration, followed by economy class in a 2-2 configuration. The aircraft felt spacious, cozy, and very welcoming. The air vents and reading lights are nestled in a circular section of a panel above you. The legroom felt great, but for some reason not too good. The tray table is plain and simple, while the seat pocket houses the normal combination of the three documents available on all Indian flights. One of the reasons this flight is so exciting is because Star Air is the only airline to use Embraer aircraft in India. All other airlines in India use aircraft manufactured by Boeing, Airbus, ATR, or Bombardier. The crew, on a general note, was kind and looked immaculate. They were professional enough for a regional airline and did their job just fine.
सज्जनों स्टार एयर की उड़ान संख्या एस 59325 में आपका स्वागत है। हम पुणे जाने के लिए आए। पुणे तक की दूरी
The engines on these Embraer birds are a rarity for Indians. They sound small but powerful. Since the aircraft taxied from the other end of the Terminal 1, the taxi path actually passed through Mumbai Airport's defunct runway 1432. On the way to runway 927, you can see all the international wide bodies parked for or after their flights to and from every corner of the world. The aircraft, which can carry around 70 something passengers, was completely empty. There were about 7 to 8 passengers on the entire flight. For those wondering why is this route a joke, it's because Pune is only about 150 kilometers from Mumbai, a distance you can cover faster by car than on a plane. The seats and rows around me were completely empty and I had so much of space all for myself. Even in these heavy rains, the takeoff was considerably smooth, or so I say. A lot of you might not know, but my senses are pretty weak, and I don't feel a lot of things that normal people would. The flight felt like one scary flight with pitch black darkness outside and occasional flashes of lightning. Although it looks fascinating, but some of my family members told me they'd be scared if they were in my place. The seatbelt signs didn't come off the whole flight, but I still managed to record the lavatory for you all. It was clean, well kept, and decently spacious. The darkness started diminishing and lights became apparent as the aircraft started approaching Pune. The lights around the engine were turned on, which was another sign we had begun our approach into Pune. Now, there's something you'll need to know, and that is Pune Airport is actually a military airport, and it is strictly prohibited in India to use any kind of photography or videography equipment while taking off or landing at such airports. However, I recorded only the landing and nothing further since I didn't want to get into any trouble. Speaking of the flight, all in all, it was a pretty decent flight. They did mess up a little at the check-in counter, but that's probably because this is not a scheduled service. And then again, you can't really expect a world-class service on a 30 to 40 minute flight. I think one really has to have a longer flight duration to really experience an airline. But from what I experienced, it looked pretty good. These are some of the last clips I recorded since once off board the aircraft, I didn't dare turn on my camera. I only finally turned it on again when I decided to have some food on Pune streets. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of Star Air in the comments. Thanks. Keep watching.